Aurora Levins Morales reminds us that another world is possible. We can always embrace possibility. I have a former colleague. She's Iranian American. Miriam is her name. And she's been worried sick about her mother and her family for a long time. They live back home in Tehran. The war and Iranian internet blackout over the last 7 or 8 weeks have left her physically, emotionally, mentally, like completely drained and completely distraught in any imaginable way. I can't even begin to imagine what she's going through right now. She felt she was going to go insane the week that our president threatened annihilation in Iran. And as a naturalized U.S. citizen, she is deeply afraid of losing her citizenship and being deported back to Iran, as has already happened to all too many Iranian Americans. Most Iranians in the United States come from persecuted religious minorities, Sunni Muslims. The Iranian theocracy enforces only Shia Islam. Parsis, also known as Zoroastrians, Baha'i, Christians, agnostics, and atheists. Now, under Islamic law, Christians and Jews are supposed to be protected religious minorities, but they are not in Iran. The Persian prophet Zarathustra established the first monotheistic religion of the world, now called Parsi or Zoroastrianism. It lent Judaism, Christianity, and Islam such concepts as archangels, guardian angels, angels, and an evil, destructive spirit who is the eternal adversary of God, who is commonly called Druj, or the Great Lie. When I think of that name, the Great Lie, another name comes to mind to me. The Garden of Eden, paradise, and an apocalyptic end-time scenario also stem from Zoroastrianism. They are nowhere to be found in the Hebrew Bible before the Jewish exile to Babylon, when Jews for 70 years lived side by side with Persian Zoroastrians and picked up these religious concepts, and their descendant religions, Christianity and Islam, also inherited these concepts. Another example, the Persian Cyrus the Great liberates the ancient Jews from Babylonian exile. He enables the Jews to build the Second Temple and to rebuild their holy city, Jerusalem. The Hebrew Bible names him as the Messiah of the Jewish people, among other messiahs, in Isaiah 45:1. That term Messiah, we know that word. The Christians tend to ignore that particular verse of the Hebrew Bible when they try to cast Jesus as the biblical Messiah. The Persian Sufi mystic poet Farid al-Din Attar is the actual author of our allegorical children's story today. And Joseph Priestley, Universalist minister, started telling that story to our congregations over 250 years ago. That is how deep our relationship is with this religious tradition. Another Persian Sufi mystic, Rumi, is found in our hymnal as well. Number 188, Come, come, whoever you are.
Wanderer, worshiper, lover,
In more modern times, Iran has given the world the graphic novelist and movie director of Persepolis. Remember that movie Persepolis, like maybe about 10 years ago or so? Marjan Satrapi. Iran has also given us a composer for the Game of Thrones, Ramin Djawadi, and also Shirin Ebadi, the 2003 Nobel Peace Prize laureate for her work in defending human rights, in particular women's human rights. My former colleague Miriam is not alone in her despair. Even yesterday, I had two congregants. I had a conversation with two congregants who I ran into incidentally in town talk about what's going on in the world and how we can cope with the horrors of what our country is doing. So many of us are deeply disgusted by the ongoing wars and disturbed by them. The war crimes that we're committing, the endless homophobia from our administration and elected legislators. And we're struggling emotionally with the lack of peace, the lack of shalom, the lack of salam, not only for ourselves in our own lives, but in the larger world around us. And the Farsi word for peace is saleh. Our elected leaders need to hear our voices. And I hope you've called your legislators in Congress, and please keep calling them and sharing your opinions with them. They need to hear our voices. They need to hear our voices that proclaim love. They need to hear our voices of the inherent worthiness and dignity of all people. Every single one of us, every last person has the right to flourish with dignity, love, and compassion. They need to hear our voices that we are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, and theology. And they need to hear our voices of just peace. Just peace is not peace through strength, peace through military might, peace through force. That is oppression. It's not peace at all. It's another one of those great lies perpetrated by our administration. As a denomination, we have committed ourselves to pursuing just peace in the world. Just peace is a radically inclusive and transformative concept. Just peace calls us to address the roots of conflict that include economic exploitation, political marginalization, the violation of human rights, and the lack of legal accountability. Just Peace advocates a culture of peace through transformation of public policies, religious consciousness, and individual lifestyles. Our commitment to our core value of love centers our commitment to just peace for ourselves and our world. To be able to embrace love, to be able to embrace just peace, we need to embrace the possibilities of love in our world, the possibilities of peace in our world. For our own survival and for the survival of our planet Earth and all the myriad of species that live on this planet, we have to. There's no other choice. We have to learn how to live in harmony with all people, with all races, all ethnicities, all cultures, all languages, all religions. And we can do this. We are physically able to do this. Together with other hominids, evolution has gifted us with larger, more complex brains that come along with increased intelligence, and also a lack of a tail and highly mobile shoulder joints. We share these traits with our closest hominid relatives, the chimpanzees. And I actually read you the definition of the evolutionary advantages of the chimpanzees, which we share with them. Let's use this natural intelligence to settle our disputes with each other. This past Thursday, our Unitarian Universalist Association sent a letter to the President and to the leaders of both houses in Congress demanding an end to war. All Unitarian Universalists are asked to sign on to this letter, and I did. The word in the letter says, war in the letter says, violates our deepest Unitarian Universalist values. It threatens religious liberty. It puts Iranian people at further risk of harm from their oppressive regime. I quote, illegal and destructive use of military force cannot be justified on the grounds of human rights. Good things have happened this month. Several times over the course of this month, excuse me, several times over the course of this month, our government has embraced possibility. It backed down from the threats against Iran and the Iranians. It agreed to a ceasefire. It agreed to opening the Strait of Hormuz. And it forced Israel to a ceasefire in Lebanon. Did our government hear our voices of protest? I most certainly hope so. Will it last? I also hope so. In order to make that real, in order to make sure that those commitments, those embracing of possibilities continues, I will undertake social justice efforts. And I hope that you will as well. Dan, what's going on? Last week ended with a worldwide great rejoicing. Artemis II sailed off to the furthest reaches of space and returned home safely. The entire world was watching and waiting and rejoicing. We were enamored by the beautiful images of the Earth and the Moon that we received from them. A multiracial international crew of a women and men once again challenged space, the final frontier, to boldly go where no one has gone before. They soared around the moon and examined its dark side with such detail, a side of the moon that no human being has ever examined before. And the pictures that they sent us with the beauty of the Earth, with the beauty of our home planet from the other side of the moon. And they showed us so many beautiful, countless moonscapes. I think it's time to go home to our bedrooms and take down those pictures of planet Earth from the 1960s and replace them with a poster of planet Earth and the moon from Artemis II. Don't you think so? We embrace the possibilities of scientific exploration. As Unitarian Universalists, we accept that science is real and that science should be taught in science classes, not religion. The images of our planet home from Artemis remind us how precious and precarious life is on our blue, green, white marble that is just floating out there in the darkness of space. It's another reminder that we're all part of the interdependent web of all existence. If I may borrow this, all of us here. This is the crux, the kernel of that web of life that we are all part of. Thank you. In the words of the Reverend Lorraine Stevens, amid the raging fires and cold emptiness of space, here we float. Imagine yourselves just floating out in outer space, but being able to breathe. Brave, curious, alive. So people all over the world celebrate. What would humanity be like if we remembered and honored our cosmic context together even once a year? And what is that day that we do that? Earth Day. Can we embrace the possibility of life together with just peace on our planet Earth? We embrace such possibilities when we center love in our lives. Reverend Stevens continues, I'm sorry, that's not where the quote is, sorry. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. No matter what we do, no matter what we think of, we always have the possibility to stop and think, what would be the loving way of responding to this situation? When we embrace possibility, we can always center love. Now, love might not always seem like the easiest option to do, especially when we're on the road and someone, does this to us or whatever. We might be distressed. We might be angry. We might be exhausted. We might have physically and emotionally drained ourselves because of what's going on in the world, as my former colleague Miriam has happened to her. But one of the possibilities, one of the options that we always have is love. Reverend Stevens continues, I want to instill in my children, and what's more, I want to instill in myself the sense of vocation as endeavoring to get to the other side of impossible, where impossible simply falls away. All the challenges, all the obstacles, they are not blocking the path. They are the path. We embrace the possibility of centering love in our lives. In love, we embrace new ways of being in right relationship with each other, with the communities where we live in, and with our planet Earth and all the species on our planet.